Okay, guys, today, this is going to be a very special episode of me going through comics. This one is new to me. It's not something I grew up with. It's not something that holds any kind of nostalgia for me or anything like that. But I am a fan of 1-900 Hot Dog, and if you know if you follow this stuff, you know that Robert Brockway did a series of articles on the L.I.F.E Brigade. So recently, I went to my comic store, or one of the comic stores I go to, and they have dollar comics there, and they were having a sale where you get 3 for $1. So I spent a couple of hours going through a bunch of boxes there and just finding a bunch of stuff for me, stuff for content for the channel, and I came across L.I.F.E Brigade #2, and this blew my mind because I was like, holy shit, I am so happy to have this. I've read the articles several times. They're a ton of laughs. I recommend that you go to 1-900 Hot Dog and see these articles that Brockway wrote about these comics. Now, apparently there were 3 that were made. Issue 1, 2, and 3. This is issue #2. I can get issue #1, which I'm about to do, and apparently issue #1 is no problem. You can purchase it. I saw it on Amazon when I did a quick search for it for around, I don't know, $5 with like $3 shipping or whatever. So $8 in total for that. When I saw this on Amazon, it was showing up as $200. The book is not worth $200. I don't know what it is. I think this is #2 is more rare than #1. So I think that it would be a little more expensive than #1, but I don't believe that it is a $200 comic. So that one's weird to me, but okay. But I was very excited to get this, and seriously, this might be one of my most prized treasures now, is that I have this book. And I'm going to go through it, and this video might end up being a little long because there's going to be so much to say. There's going to be so much to talk about, and I'm a little excited to do it. Okay, so first of all, L.I.F.E Brigade. L.I.F.E is an acronym. We're going to find out what that means in a minute when we open the comic. This came out from Blue Comet Comics, okay? And Blue Comet also happens to be the name of this superhero right here, who I'm assuming this is like a blue flame. I don't know. The powers are weird. I don't know everything about these characters, okay? This is the only issue I own, and apparently issue #3 I couldn't find anywhere. So that one I think is the rarest of the rare, and I remember when I read the article about that, because I believe he did an article for the 3rd issue as well, was showing that the 3rd issue may have only produced maybe like 5,000 copies in total or something like that. So that might be a hard one to come across. So many characters here that we're going to get into, but Long John Laser here. I have so many questions. None of it gets answered. I believe they even showed in one comic the origin of Long John Laser, and it still doesn't answer any of my questions. He has so much going on here, from an eye patch to some other thing on his eye to his mouth like ripped apart or whatever. Like I feel like seriously this is like a Cable derivative. I feel like this is a Liefeld thing where it's like, I'm going to give him everything. Okay, he's going to have every power or whatever. Now, he only has like a laser eye, okay? And it's obviously this eye. I don't know what happened to this eye. I can't remember. Again, I think that was in the first comic or whatever. But I believe this came out in like 1986. We're going to see for sure. It was $1.80 when it came out, $2.75 in Canada. All right, but let's dive into L.I.F.E Brigade. All right, I'm going to try to give you guys like as much information as I can on this, okay? So firstly, the book was created by Craig Stormont, okay? He's the guy who wrote and drew, as you can see here, created, written, and illustrated by Craig A. Stormont, okay? He also left this little editorial column here where he goes on talking about a new artist that they brought in for a comic that he's creating called the roller coasters. Okay, we have a preview of the roller coasters in the back of this issue. So this issue is kind of half and half. We're getting half of the Life Brigade and half of roller coasters. Okay, we're going to dive into that too, because there's just, again, so much to try to comprehend in these things. Okay, but here, oops, okay, so sorry about that. I hit that and flipped that over. So here is, again, there's a little editorial from Craig Stormont, and he's talking about this new artist that they hired named Duvall Stowers. Okay, and he's going on about how Duvall is as good as John Byrne or Mike Grell or Neil Adams. Now, I will say this: I've already seen this person's artwork, and has a lot of influence from Neil Adams, in my opinion. He's definitely a decent artist. I think there's a lot there. I mean, he can work on some stuff. I think he was new to it, but Craig Stormont goes into detail here about how at a comic convention, okay, San Diego Con, that other companies were looking to take Duvall Stowers away and give him work. And they promised that work wouldn't interfere with the work for roller coasters. And apparently, something happened to where Duvall ended up leaving that company and staying with Blue Comet Press, whereas the other people that he used to work for went on about how they fired him because he was too slow in his artwork or whatever. I don't know the whole ins and outs there, but the way that this, Craig Stormont talks, it just, I don't know. The story's a little incoherent, and I think that that's just a trait of Stormont, okay? As we'll see when we read this book here, okay? But I do love that down here, this is an ad telling you that, hey, we need artists, I would fucking love to see that today. Like, the only time I saw that, and I think it's a thing that I might get into later on, in another video or something like that, is when Liefeld's Youngblood and everything was taken over by this guy, Andrew something, for Terrific Productions. And Terrific Productions was all over Twitter saying, hey, come work for us. We're looking for artists and everything. And there are a ton of people out there who want to become a comic book artist. And everybody was going to dive on this, but the whole thing was just flat out a scam because they weren't getting paid. And this guy for Terrific Productions never brought out anything. But again, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so here, though, we have a little ad here. It says, send Xeroxes of your work if you are professional quality. We are looking for a few good men. Inkers needed. Top quality only. Good page rates. Letterers needed. Send Xeroxes of your samples. Don't delay. Okay. I'm guessing we send it here to this address or whatever, but it's like, he's putting out like sound bites or whatever, so it's a little incoherent, but I get it. You need artists. That's great. Okay. Let's jump into Life Brigade. All right. Life, the acronym stands for Last Individuals Fighting Evil. The title of this chapter, He Who Laughs Last. I'm actually not sure where that fits in, but again, we'll see that as we're going through the book. And seriously, I might have to do this in two parts. I might just do Life Brigade as part one, Roller Coasters as part two, because again, we're going to be talking about so much, right? I'm just going to read the portion up here of what Life Brigade is. But it says, the Life Brigade is a team of special people that were sent into space to try to find relief for the overpopulated planet Earth. What they did find is a robot, the Atomic Oracle, that had lost his people. They had been completely destroyed by a bloodthirsty alien foe, the Vandanese. This got the Brigade, I guess, concerned is what it meant to say here, for the state of the planet Earth. They had been in space for 3 years. When they returned, they found the Vandas had control of the airspace. The only way to avoid their lasers was to blast into some caverns. Now they find themselves deep within the planet Earth with the unknown at every turn. So, as we can tell from that little recap, it's going to be a little hard to kind of understand what's going on. Sometimes I just think that maybe Craig Stormont was maybe a little too excited or thought he was giving you things. So a lot I feel is over-explained, and then there's a lot where it's just under-explained. But let's take a look at our characters. So number one, we have Blue Comet, okay? Uh, the origin of Blue Comet, which I believe may be in issue number 3, which again will be a difficult issue to get a hold of. But I believe that the origin of Blue Comet was that he was on a expedition through space, and he came across this alien woman with like cosmic powers who immediately fell in love with Blue Comet and took him back to her planet in order to mate with him. But in order to do that, also, she had to give him powers so that he wouldn't be like destroyed from the mating. But then he didn't end up mating with her and ended up just leaving the planet. So I'm telling you, I don't know what to say, because I feel like it's horrible and great at the same time. There's so much there to unpack, but there really wasn't. And the whole time, Blue Comet complained about the entire situation. Then we have Rochelle Winraven, which I believe is a Native American. I think we saw her origin story, but her origin story is just that she has powers because she's a Native American, and she has the ability to contact her ancestors to get information on things. We have Long John Laser. His power is a laser eye, but when he uses that laser eye, it kind of destroys his face, which is why we see that his mouth is messed up and he has an eye patch on, because I think it like kind of withered his other eye. We have the Ray Gun Kid. The origin of the Ray Gun Kid is that he met another dude who just had a ray gun, and that dude was just like, hey, come with me and hang out, and I'll make you the Ray Gun Kid. And he gave him this outfit, and then that was it. He was the Ray Gun Kid. And then we have the Atomic Oracle, which was a robot that was found on an alien world in the first issue of this book, and then just ended up joining them. So there we go. We're all caught up, as far as I understand. There shouldn't be anything else, because the first one was them just finding the Atomic Oracle and then heading back to Earth, because again, they were sent to find relief in some way, but didn't, but then just came back to Earth. I don't know. Again, there's definitely going to be problems with the story, and some questions just will not be able to be answered, okay? But here we go. It says that the team has temporarily invaded the Vandas by going into some caverns. They don't follow for some reason. So the Brigade decided to take a look around and find out why. And that says that took place last issue. So I love how it is just explained that the enemy that was chasing them gives up for no reason. And we're just told, we don't know why. Nobody knows why. They just decided not to follow anymore. Okay? So we have the L.I.F.E Brigade in this cavern. And it looks like the Ray Gun Kid was just wandering around examining stuff when he suddenly, heard something. And when he turns around, he has lasers drawn, but we find out that it's just the Atomic Oracle, okay? Suddenly they start hearing screams in the cavern. And when they turn around, they see that they are being attacked by mutants, okay? So we'll just go with this right here where it says, crazy from radiation poisoning and everything they eat, breathe, and touch, these rad mutants have turned to cannibalism with bloodlust and total insanity. All right. You can see this dude here is eating a finger, so they apparently have already been... Did they bring their food with them as they were coming to attack these people? We don't know. But it says that the L.I.F.E Brigade has no time to feel sorry. These wild men have death on their minds. What's left of their minds, that is. Editor. This cracks me up because this feels like a narration panel, okay? But was it's a note from the editor explaining, or was that just the portion that's in the quotes or the brackets? I don't know. See, that's where the confusion comes in. Now, I know also in the beginning editorial, Craig Stormont stated that issue number 3 was actually going to have like a professional editor on board, and that would improve the comic so much more. From what I understand, this book got canceled after this issue, was rebooted and brought out again, but it wasn't a reboot. It was actually still just a continuation, because they were bringing out just issue number 3. That's all we got was just issue number 3, and issue number 3 was mostly just like more of an issue number 0, where it was showing the origins of a lot of these characters. Okay, so as they're fighting, you can see here people are getting zapped all over the place, and then they suddenly hear the sound of a truck or something coming. Okay, and there is that truck. So that truck is coming to help, and apparently it's blasting people away. And it's great because we have Rochelle Windraven here who says, look, ordinary folks, and they are coming to help us. Thank God. How do they know that these are ordinary folks inside of this truck? But okay, we'll just let that go. But I just love how, it's called ordinary folks. Now we have this new guy, and it just says, hey, you humans, come on out of there. We got to get to safety, climb into this rover, okay? So I guess he was peeking out of, or no, never mind. I think that may be him right there, or there were some people outside of the truck, okay. But they're just like, sure, we'll go with you. And we can see the truck here was made by Ford. And we get an introduction, okay? The introduction is, this is the Zone Ranger and his pal, Teuton, okay? And again, I think we're getting some Native American themes there. So it's obviously Lone Ranger and Tonto, Teuton. I guess that was supposed to be the play on words. But basically, they go into talking. This whole thing is actually a narration by the Zone Ranger. And it's wild because it's kind of a narration and then it isn't. Because while he's narrating, we still have people talking. I don't know, it gets a little confused. But it's like, we saw the welcome, in quotes, the Vandas gave you. We have a base high in the mountains. It's an old bomb shelter an eccentric millionaire built during a bomb scare. Do you have powers? Can I just say, I feel like this book was written by a 10-year-old. Okay, it was a 10-year-old who was like, I want to make comics. And as a kid, when you're like talking to your friends and you're play acting and you're doing this and that or whatever, that's how you would speak to somebody. They just immediately are just like, hey, do you have powers, right? And then this is the scene that he just described there, where it's like, it's an Earthship. The Vandas are trying their tricks on them. Trying their tricks on them? It looks like they're just attacking them. Okay, whatever it is. That's why I feel like it gets a little, difficult to understand, is because sometimes, the wording of something. But they say, yes, we have some powers. We've been in space for a while. What's happened? It's like they're telling, but they're not. I don't know. Again, it's so wild. But they say how between, the Vandas apparently tricked the U.S. and Russia into bombing each other, and that, all the nuclear bombs ended up knocking the Earth off its axis and causing earthquakes and tidal waves, and in some areas an ice age, and in other areas, excessive plant growth or whatever, and that, the people who survived, not many lived through it. The ones who didn't live became slaves or mutants. And then the other ones, I guess, are like were said here, are ordinary people, but may have powers. I'm not sure. So, they're just saying here how, they're being used as slaves by the Vandanese. Not really, just slaves. So they're talking about this, and Windraven gets concerned for her family, because she's like, oh God, everybody on Earth has been, taken into slavery, or, has become a mutant, and she wants to know if her family is safe. And immediately Long John Laser is like, sorry, Rocky, as much as I care, we have a mission and a duty to our whole race. We must drive them away. The phrasing of that sounds like he wants to drive his whole race away, and not the Vandanese. So I don't know. Like again, a lot of that is just weird. So he's saying, and it won't be easy because, the people who are alive, blah, blah, blah. But can I just, I want to talk about the artwork for a minute because this whole thing here, again, was written and drawn by Craig Stormont, right? And obviously he's not the best artist, but I got to tell you, I kind of love the art. There's a charm to it. This is an independent comic, and this man apparently put everything he had into making this. And while it's not great, it's one of those things that you would love, like one of those movies that would end up on Mystery Science Theater 3000 or Riff Tracks. Okay, that's what this is. But I love it. I love it for how crazy it is. I love it for how off the wall. I love it for this guy taking on all these responsibilities in order to make this comic. He had a dream. He brought it to life. But it's a James Gwynn Birdemic situation. You know what I mean? That's what this is. So it's so bad it's good. That's what this is, and I love it. Okay, but I will say that for someone who is obviously not the best artist or anything, we get backgrounds in almost every panel, and that is not something that we get from certain artists out there today who get paid like crazy to draw comics or whatever. This guy did his all. I'm just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so they say, hey, we've got rooms for you guys to stay in to rest and collect yourselves and everything. And as they're walking to their rooms, it seems that this woman here is going to hit on Long John Laser. Okay, her name is Wendy Blaze. Okay, so Wendy is like, you're the leader of L.I.F.E Brigade, aren't you? We're really happy you came. We need your help to continue surviving under these conditions. Is Rochelle your girlfriend? So again, this is like a 10-year-old's concept of how people talk to each other, how adults talk to each other, whatever. You go say one thing and then you bring it straight to the point you want to get to, okay? But then here we have Long John Silver, or not Long John Silver, Long John Laser. I knew that was going to take place at some point. He's like, is that why you're called Wendy, ma'am? Is it because she blurted out a lot of stuff in one word bubble? Maybe that's it. I don't know. But did she do anything to be called Wendy? I don't know. I find that hilarious. But obviously, again, this girl is hitting on Long John Laser, and he's just like, whatever. I don't even care. I am just going to go to bed. It says Wendy doesn't get an answer as John closed the door. He just slams the door in her face. He is tired and confused. So he starts, thinking about all the horrible things that happened to Earth while he was gone. And he's laying in bed trying to get to sleep, but he can't. He's a little restless and everything. And when he does doze off, he starts to have these wild nightmares of everybody on Earth blaming him personally. Where were you? Where were you when all of this was going on? Okay. I don't think it's pulled off very well, but I do get the gist of what Craig Stormont was trying to do. But I do like a lot of the artwork here with that. And of course he wakes up and, he's just like, we were too involved with the mission, gasp, choke. We looked for a livable planet. God, I didn't know. So again, their original mission was to find another planet for Earth, to move, or the people of Earth to move to solve the overpopulation problem. They didn't find it, and they just came back to Earth to find that Earth was taken over by an alien race. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly why they came back to Earth immediately instead of continuing on with their mission, but whatever. Okay, so we cut to the Vandanese capital. Okay, it says that in Ransodia, the Vandanese capital city of Earth, plans are being made to get rid of the L.I.F.E Brigade for once and for all. For once and for all. But okay. And then we just have a panel here with, I guess, the evil leader. No dialogue or anything. So I don't feel like that was planned out. They could have, Craig Stormont could have used that extra realty to create something else, a larger picture or something. But here is the main bad guy. I believe his name is Calestro. But we'll see that later on. This guy kind of looks like a clown. This guy kind of looks like an evil clown with the makeup or whatever that's on his face. But basically, he's like, what progress have you made in finding these people? And they're like, oh yeah, well, we tried to, we attacked this place called the Pentagon, and the Pentagon had all of this information. So let me show you the information that we found. And it's wild because these three panels basically all just say the same thing, and it's wild. But, this general whatever in this Pentagon tape is saying that top secret unauthorized viewing of this tape is punishable by death. This is funny. Yeah, so, he's saying this, I don't know. This feels like the FBI warning on the front of VHS tapes at the time or whatever. But basically, it's like these conditions on tape are what prompted sending a team of special people into deep space to find some kind of relief for our planet. He says that same thing in that panel. It says the people of our country and all of Earth are starving and in danger of total panic. So I guess the danger is the panic, of course, right? But they are starving, and I just need to show this. Is that a kid? Is that what that is? Is that Craig Stormon's idea of what a child looks like when they're starving? It looks like a little alien creature, and I just couldn't get enough of that. I find it hilarious, okay? I believe that's probably his mom behind him, and I'm not sure what this guy's doing in his overalls, but it kind of looks like he's not just, putting his hands in his pockets. It looks like he's, playing some pocket pool or something like that, okay? But they're in a food line, and basically, they're saying that, just like the lemmings of the North, when the population reach a fever pitch, there's suicide and killing, anarchy develops. So they're basically saying that with all the people on Earth and, the lack of food and everything, that people are either killing themselves, starving to death, or, killing others, okay? And you can see here that rioting takes place because apparently food is airdropped. Now, they're not really saying where the food is airdropped from. Are they trying to say that there's a government still in place and that they're trying to provide food for people? It's not really explained, like I said, but food is obviously airdropped or whatever, and then they're saying that it's survival of the fittest because whoever's the strongest ends up getting a hold of the food. Now, down here, okay, what we have are two narration panels that really should have just been one because it's just a continuation of the same thing. So as you see here, it's like the military can't help either because wars have broken out on all our borders. On the Mexican border, the flow of refugees got so bad, the United States has put a complete border blockade on the Canadian border. Things aren't much better. I don't know. Is that a period? Is a comma? Things are very hard to read on this. So the way I read it is like, but again, it could have just been one giant narration caption, or they could have put that narration caption down here. But I do love that we have one soldier out here just saying, remember the Alamo. So, okay. But basically, they're talking about this, and this lead evil alien is just like, it's a good thing we took over this place because obviously these humans didn't know what the hell they were doing, and they needed us to rule them, because they were stupid or whatever. Okay, so they do talk about how they found the Atomic Oracle, which is a robot on another planet, and apparently these guys are the ones that left the Atomic Oracle on that other planet. So they're saying, hey, we need to send some people out to investigate whether or not that robot is still there. And it's almost immediate that somebody is there, and he's like, hey, no, the Atomic Oracle is no longer there, so he must have joined up with the L.I.F.E. Brigade. When another ship comes out of nowhere and lands, and this is the person from that ship, and he's apparently a bounty hunter, and he seems to know what took place, or he witnessed the events that took place on that world in the first issue, and he says, if you take me to your leader, I'll explain to him everything that happened. So the leader's like, yeah, go ahead, bring this guy to me, I want to know everything. And again, I don't feel like there's much information there. They really just saw, that the L.I.F.E. Brigade was attacked by aliens. They took the Atomic Oracle with them, and then they flew back to Earth. Like, that's literally what happened. And this guy saw that, but whatever. So then he says, when I first read this, I'm just like, is it wheel? No, but it's well. We have a spy that saw everything, do we? Good. He's not a spy, he's a bounty hunter, he's just a witness. He wasn't there spying, he just happened to be there. I'm not sure why he was there. I don't. He's a bounty hunter. I don't know if he had a bounty on one of the Life Brigade or not. I'm actually not sure. But here we have, um, back at the bomb shelter, Long John Laser wakes up with a gun in his hand, startled because there is somebody in his doorway, and we find out that that somebody is Wendy Blaze, wearing a completely see-through teddy or negligee or whatever it is, and she's just like, "Hey, I heard you screaming and such while you were sleeping. Are you okay? I just came over to check." Now, what kind of grabs me here is like, right from here, we cut to Rochelle Windraven in her room contacting her ancestors, and then we cut right back to Long John Laser. I just feel that we could have cut to, Windraven up here, and then, just had the full story of Wendy Blaze. And I'm starting to make a correlation here. Are all the women named something to do with the wind? Is that a blowing joke or something? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know Craig Stormont like that, so I don't know. It just felt like there was something there, or that it was a joke that failed or something. But basically, Long John Laser's just like, yeah, I'm fine, I'm all right, I'm fine, really, I'm fine, whatever. And he just keeps saying it over and over. And she's saying, it's not uncommon for people to have nightmares and stuff in this situation, since, you had a long trip in space, you came home and found Earth taken over by an alien race and everything, so you should be traumatized. And he's like, yeah, well, that's not too hard to believe, oh man, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, so if you think you're all right, I guess I'll just go back to bed. And he's like, yeah, sure, fine, no problem, I'm great. I love it. It's just, you have this thing set up for obvious sexual encounter here. And it's just, Craig Stormont doesn't seem to know where to go with it to get it started, or what. I don't know. It's very weird. I don't know if he's just out to try to, maybe he thinks he's building up attention or something like that. I'm not sure. But what we do have here is Long John Laser crying through whatever this is on his eye. It's crying from behind and crying from the front. I don't know. I never knew what that thing was. The whole thing seemed so weird to me. Again, so many things on the face. I don't know. It's just wild to me, okay? So cut to the evil alien again, and he comes up with a plan. And he's like, okay, my plan is I'm going to take some humans, and I'm going to use them as bait. We're going to threaten to kill these humans, and this Life Brigade is going to come to their rescue. And when they do, we're going to capture them, okay? And they put the information out there to be gathered, and apparently Two-Ton found that information and went to the Life Brigade and said, here it is, they're in this area, and these, now for some reason they're black Vandas, so I'm not sure what the difference is there. We do, as we can see here, I think these are the black Vandas where they're wearing maybe black armor, but apparently I guess they're supposed to be stronger than the regular Vandas. I don't know. Again, it's never explained, but they're like, yeah, let's go save these people. So they show up where these are the human slaves here. They're about to be murdered. Now, what's great is Calestro here is saying, everybody pretend like you're going to kill these humans or whatever. I'm not sure why they have to pretend. He obviously has, a loathing for the human race or whatever. He enslaved everyone. He's leaving everyone to die. It's just kind of funny to me that he would say, let's pretend that we're going to kill them instead of actually, trying to kill them or whatever. But so that's what he says to them, wait for the Life Brigade to get in close and then we'll grab them up, okay? So the Life Brigade shows up, okay? They run in and start fighting everybody. As you can see here, Windraven, I guess, zaps this Black Vanda, says, a little quip or whatever. I don't know. I feel like everything's kind of always just a little over-explained. It's like, don't move or the next power blast won't just be a stun like the last, okay? I think it's implied when you say the next one won't be a stun that the last one you just did was a stun. So I don't know. Sometimes I just feel like it's over-explained, but then other things are just way under-explained. So this is the Zone Ranger, and he's like, you know, you people are free now. Go up the trail the way we came, and there's people there that'll help you. And you know, everybody's like, yes, everything's all right now. And the Black Vanda comes out and says, we have you completely surrounded, and if you move, we're going to open fire. And now you're Calestro's prisoners. Okay, so then Calestro jumps out, and he's like, you know, I finally caught you guys, and now you're my prisoners. And then suddenly, this must be Team B that jumps out of nowhere and says, nope, we held back so that you would only capture half our team so we could come in and rescue them because we knew it was a trap. And Calestro's like, okay, I'm out of here. I need to run to save my life. But as Calestro's running away, apparently he runs into Windraven. And then this is kind of funny because Calestro is the one running away. And when he runs into her, he says, no human female can stop the great Calestro, like he was running to attack her or something. I don't know. But she says, see if my teleblast changes your mind. And she zaps him. And he's like, okay. I don't know. I just love this. Also, like, I don't know. Stormon wasn't the greatest at drawing women's breasts, apparently. But yeah, we'll get into that because, like, this picture right here, like, obviously he wanted to draw the clothing here, you know, connecting that or whatever, and it's not really playing very well. But it's like, yes, we stopped them. The first battle is ours, and Long John Laser's like, well, how did you know that this was going to happen? We feel like you knew more than you're letting on. And she's like, oh, well, last night I used my crystal to contact my ancestors, and, you know, using the mist of time, I was able to find out all of Calestro's evil plans. You would think that she would have told her entire team that information. Why is that information you would have held back? That's not how any of that works. You guys could have done so much more. But anyway, you know, this, we have the last saying here from Calestro's, these fools, too bad the Indian girl didn't look farther into the future as I had my wizard do this morning, because it's not over yet. That cracks me up because, again, I've said that I feel like this whole comic is written by a 10-year-old for the way that the dialogue goes and everything. And not only that, but you have people who have to one-up on one another. She apparently looked in the future, but he looked in the future a little farther, so that's why he's going to win. I don't know. I just find it hilarious. But it says, don't miss issue number 3. I promise some great surprises. And again, there is an issue number 3, but I'm not sure I'll ever be able to get a hold of it. And it says, now get ready for Duval Stowers roller coasters. The action, art, and adventure keeps coming. So this is the roller coasters. And again, I'm going to do that for a second video. But this was L.I.F.E Brigade number 2. Okay. Just, I don't know. It's just one of my favorites. I loved going through this. I'm going to get issue number 1 and do a video on that as well. And again, I'm going to do a part 2 on this for the roller coasters. So guys, if you like this video, please hit like. It helps my channel grow. And I'm a comic book artist who is trying to build up an audience so that I can put my comic out there. So it'll be a lot of help if you guys could, you know, hit like to, you know, get me some more views and everything. Also, if you like these videos, or if you want to learn more information about the comic that I'm putting together, subscribe to my channel so that way you'll get any new information and any new videos. I usually have a new video coming out every day. So guys, again, thanks for watching, and until next time.